Welcome to the Lifestyle Herbalists, where we serve up a healthy dose of happiness. I'm Dabney Vaccaro, and together with my co-host Sabrina Cooper, we're here to blend our expertise as dental hygienists and herbalists to help you live your healthiest, happiest life. From holistic wellness tips to natural remedies and everything in between, we're here to inspire you to thrive, mind, body, and spirit. Let's get started. Hi, welcome back to the Lifestyle Herbalist podcast. Sabrina and I are here today to talk to you about aging gracefully as women. What an interesting topic. And we hope that you will learn a few tips and things from our conversation today as Sabrina, who is a holistic nutritionist and herbalist, and I dabble in herbalism and wellness coaching. So between the two of us, we think we've got some really good information to help you as women to live better and maybe enjoy life longer. How you doing, Sabrina?
Good. It's so great to be here with you again. It's so exciting. I know it takes us a while to get together sometimes, but we always get our schedules down pat. Then it's always fun to be on our Zoom calls and see each other talking, even though we're miles
Absolutely.
apart, right? But this topic I feel is a hot topic lately. I think it's because we're in that age group where, we are seeing our like women are aging, going into like perimenopause, menopause, like, and that begins to you get all these aches and pains that you didn't think you had, or you start to see the little fine wrinkles or things that you were able to do, you're not so readily able to do them, right? So it's something about like not so much, it's about embracing the aging process
Mm.
and maybe ways that we can slow it down so we don't feel those cricks and cracks when we're like working out or all these kind of things, and what can we do to make ourselves feel better along the way and still have that really nice glow and feel young, right? Like I think times are changing. We have a lot more information at our fingertips, but there is so much information that it's hard to navigate the information and know what's right, what's wrong. And I don't know about you, but I know we've always said, you have to do what's right for your own body and listen to you, because something that works for your best friend or someone might not always work for you. So take this information we give you with heart, and maybe pick one or two things that might work for you that you could incorporate or change or you could try. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. And one of the first things that we thought we would dive into is just the importance of food choices, because ultimately that is the best medicine and the best way to support our body and the functionality. Because if we are giving it food that isn't good for us, well, we're not going to feel so good. However, if we can feed ourselves whole foods, ones that we can recognize or pronounce, then typically it helps our bodies to be able to sustain illnesses and give us more energy and vitality. And at the end of the day, like it really is that vitality that we're really aiming for. It's how do you navigate through your day? Are you just, do you need the afternoon naps because you're just so exhausted, or can you get through your day doing the activities that you want to do? So anyway, I think food is a great place to start. What do you think, Sabrina?
No, definitely. I think, like you said, it's when you have those feelings or those urges to take a nap, but during the day, or you don't have that energy to get through the day, there's something maybe underlying. It's not so much, so let's look at your diet first, because at most 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to say 9 out of 10, because I think that's a pretty fair thing. It's
Yeah.
going to be diet. There's going to be some glucose imbalance, or there's going to be something in your diet that you're not incorporating or you're not getting enough of, or too much of something and not enough of the other, that's causing you to crash and not have that stable energy and that stable satiety. So you're going to like not have feeling full longer. And like Dabney said, you want those whole foods. You want like rich, nutritious foods, right? People will say, oh, well, I eat lunch. But if you're grabbing a donut and a coffee, thinking that's going to get you, a bagel and a coffee at lunch, thinking that's going to get you through your day, you want something that's nutrient dense. You don't want something that's going to, like, in an hour or two, you're going to feel that crash and then you're going to need another coffee or a sweet treat, because that's what your body's going to be looking for, right? So, in that sense, the low fat craze was crazy for a while. Remember
Oh
those days?
gosh.
I don't know if you
Yes.
remember, it was like low fat,
Dreadful.
no fat. and our bodies need that fat, especially as we're aging. Our brains need the fat, our bodies need like, and good fats. I'm not talking like,
Yeah,
go
omega
crazy. Like,
6s, vegetable oil,
yeah,
corn oil,
exactly. We
that
want
sort
all
of
of
thing.
that, right? Because it's good to absorb all those vitamins, right? We need to absorb the fat soluble vitamins, because it's like the A's, the D's, the E's, the K's, those are all fat soluble. They need that fat to be absorbed into your body. So I think it's a great place to start, talking about nutrition.
Yeah, when I think about food choices, it's eating the rainbow. Like I just had a birthday on Wednesday. I turned 58. And as I get a little closer to 60, I'm thinking, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. They're still coming along and they're little and I want to be able to get down on the ground and play with them or jump on the trampoline or run around the bases when they're playing kickball. I want to be able to do all of those things. So what I do now will greatly impact my longevity and how long I'm going to be able to sustain the energy that I want to sustain. So as I was having lunch, because we're meeting today this afternoon, and so I told Sabrina, it's like as soon as I'm finished with lunch, we'll pop on and we can do this podcast. Well, I made myself a beet salad, which is just beautiful on of its own. But it had arugula, which is a bitter. It had some fresh roasted beets. It had some nuts, some seeds, some purple onion or red onion. And then for the other part of it is that I had a butternut squash soup that I had just made. And so I sprinkled it with pumpkin seeds. So all of those things, I mean, I feel like truly I was eating the rainbow at lunchtime and it looked pretty, which means sometimes it even tastes better if it looks better. But it wasn't difficult to do. It really has to do with just planning ahead of time. And like Sabrina was saying, like when you're grabbing the donut or the bagel or the mac and cheese, which is such a phenomenon here, especially in the South, like macaroni and cheese is almost a staple at, I don't know if it's daily, but at least several times a week. Like mac and cheese seems to be served for food, either lunch or supper time. And it is going to create that insulin spike, and then it's going to come crashing down, and then it's going to leave your body like wanting another hit because now you don't have any energy. So really sustaining that glucose level so that you're not on those highs and lows is really going to be the most beneficial to you. And lately, I've been wearing a glucose monitor, which has been really helpful for me to see how food affects me and other people in my life who are wearing them, how food affects them differently. Even though we might even eat the same things, the spike that causes me to raise a little bit might not cause the other person. And it's really important to notice what foods or how foods affect you so that you know how to navigate what's personally fitted for yourself.
Yeah, it's really, really important. And I like that you said that you eat the colors of the rainbow and made that salad because it's all about food prep. In fact, I had some beets earlier too. It's like because they're so easy and they're so nice, they're so yummy and they're full of nutrition, right? And you just can make an easy salad quickly
Yes. So
with like
easy.
nuts, seeds. You can even throw in like some people don't want to do dairy, but you can throw a little bit of dairy. It's not going to harm you, some good dairy,
Yeah, yeah.
and have that as well. And I mean, that's like all you need. You don't need to have a big hamburger at lunch or like, a big sandwich or something like that. You can just have a really plentiful meal just with all the fruits or not fruit, well, maybe some fruits, but
Yeah.
vegetables and, things that will be nourishing, right, for you. And that's what it is. It's the quality of the food that you're eating more so, right? And if you have good quality, your quantity might be less because you're going to have that nourishing, dense food that you're going to eat and it'll fill you up and you'll be full longer. So you won't have to worry about all the crashes, like we said before. And it's going to help with your cholesterol levels. And if you balance it properly, getting, your proper fats in there, your good fats. I know we've talked about it in a lot of our podcasts, like, the avocados and the omega-3s and all that kind of thing, and your protein, a little bit of protein, and those healthy carbs, then you'll be full for a lot longer as well, right? You always want to have those three in combination,
Yes.
so that you can get feel good. And by eating this way and training yourself to eat this way, there's no thinking. Like it's not going to be a diet, it's a way of living.
Great.
And it will take you on, like you said, to the later. And by the way, she doesn't even look 58. I'm just saying. But yeah, so you're gonna Dabney's taking care of herself to like help herself for later on in the years, and that's what we all should be doing, is just nurturing our bodies the way we can, so that we can have a better aging process, right? And we won't feel the aches. And I know myself, if I eat something terrible, that's not working for me, or I'm away or something like that and haven't had I couldn't find something. Just for example, like, I did reach for just, then I'll start to feel really bad, and I don't feel great. My skin looks different. I don't feel myself. But when I get back onto my, like, collagen boosting foods and my fats and all that kind of stuff, I do feel better. I feel brighter. I have more energy. I'm less lethargic. I sleep better. Um, and so it's really, really, really important. So, I don't
What are,
know.
yeah, so what are some collagen boosting foods?
So, everybody was on that with, the bone broth. Bone broth was a huge thing. And
I
it's like
love it.
beef bone broth, chicken, but it can be from chicken skin or chicken bones,
Mhm.
fish bones. You can also get collagen production from vitamin C rich foods, leafy greens. So there's different ways you can do that. I know that they sell collagen powders, but you kind of want to be careful with those. But you can supplement if you have to. But it's you have to have what it does, it's just going to give you that extra benefit to your skin, right? To your overall bone health, to everything, right? And but you do want to make sure you consult with a professional to make sure that you're taking in the right things, right? I don't want you to just go out there and say, "Oh, there's a collagen on the shelf. I'm going to take that because where was it? How was it sourced? Where is it coming
Right.
from? What are you taking?" That's kind of really important if you're going to do a collagen supplement. Try and pick one that's well sourced,
Sustainable,
that's
yes,
sustainable,
absolutely. Hmm.
because it's going into your body. You're feeding your body that, right? So you can also even garlic. Garlic is actually enhances the body's natural collagen production. So and it promotes skin elasticity. So it's great. And so I think, do you use collagen, or do you
Uh,
take in collagen foods, or do you
I
do
do,
bone
I mean,
broth?
I do bone broth. I have bone broth. I don't have it every day, but I have it several times a week. And all
Oh,
you need is a cup. Like,
yeah.
if you're consuming more than a cup a day, you're really not getting, I mean, you're wasting it. The benefit you need is about a cup a day or
Yeah.
a cup at a time. Yep.
Well, like they say, I mean, Dabney did a call for one of her programs, and we were talking about collagen. It's like, I said it's like chicken soup for the soul. It really, really is, because it's like a tea, basically,
Mhm.
because you put into that bone broth, you can also put in a bunch of really good things. Like if I make a chicken broth, I would put in some goji berries, like all my greens, carrots, celery, lots of garlic, onions. So it's like a decoction, right? It's
Yeah.
like you're steeping in all this food into this yummy juice, turmeric, whatever, and you're
Yeah.
drinking it. So you're
Mushrooms.
getting that right, like, right. And so reishi, whatever, you can put that
Yeah.
in there, and that's going to heal you faster. And so there's it's not just a wives' tale. It's just because of all the goodness and nutrition that's in. It's so nutrient dense that it's going to help you in the long term. So, and then it has a healthy fats, of course, right? So, um,
Yeah.
that's a good part of it as well. So,
Yeah. And as
mhm,
women, as we get older, we tend to get drier. Like that's just across the
mhm,
board. You know, we get wrinkles, that's across the board, and we start to dry out. Well, that has damaging effects to our skin because we will wrinkle faster if we don't stay hydrated and we have good fats, but it also messes with our digestive system. So a lot of my clients complain that they're constipated. Well, when I look at the things that they're consuming, they're not consuming very good fats or very many fats. And we need that fat to kind of lubricate our whole digestive system so things will slide out. Because if
mhm.
not, they get stuck and that doesn't make you feel good. So, that collagen, that bone broth, those healthy fats, all of those things are really important. And I
Yeah.
wanted to point out that, on my salad today, I made a avocado dressing with some balsamic vinegar.
Mhm.
And then in my soup, instead of using dairy, but when I made my soup, I used rich coconut milk. And so you're getting all the good fats in the coconut.
Yep.
So paying attention to what it is that you're consuming is really important in getting those fats in. There are things that dehydrate, like things with caffeine. That's going to dehydrate. So if you're a big coffee drinker or you're drinking soda that has caffeine in it, or even like black teas that have caffeine, that's going to dehydrate you, not hydrate. So you want to make sure that you're getting the amount of hydration that you need as well.
Yeah, it's great. And you don't need a large quantity. I know people like get worried about the calorie intake too, and fats can be a little bit higher on the calorie intake, but it's more about the quality, right? And if you have
Yeah.
a good quality fat, you're not going to need that much of it. You don't need a ton, right? So you just need a small handful of like walnuts for brain health too. Walnuts are great. Flax seeds,
Hmm.
your fishes like fish,
Pumpkin
sardines,
seed,
pumpkin
yeah.
seeds, that kind of thing. It all is going to contribute to like helping regulate your hormones, supporting psychological processes. What else? Like keeping you full. I said that before.
Definitely keeps you
Um,
fuller, so you don't feel like you're
yeah.
hungry. So
And it
even though,
helps with
don't
your
worry,
skin
yeah, don't
hydration.
worry about the calorie
Yeah.
count so much, but
Oh,
'cause
exactly.
then you're not, if you're looking at like a cup of bone broth or something with some good fat compared to a donut, you're going to be hungry looking for something more if you're
Of
eating that
course.
donut. So you're going to, at the end of the day, you're going to have consumed more calories and not fed your body very well, and you're going to feel like crap. Versus
And
if
that's
you eat something that has good fat in it, yeah, calorie wise, it might be a little bit more on the onset, but you're not going to consume as many calories because you're going to be satisfied.
exactly. And it enhances the flavor because fats also enhance flavor and things. So you're going to have that you eat something, you're like, ooh, it's like nice and to the feel
Mhm.
of your mouth and everything. If people go for that texture, it's gonna make it easier to eat those things. And then in the long run, like you said, it's going to maintain a balanced diet and a balanced weight because you're gonna be full. You're not gonna be looking for those snacks. So it's better to have that balance out with your protein and your healthy carbs, and then you'll honestly see a big difference. And it'll definitely help your skin and everything. So that will slow down your aging process, which we're talking about, right? It's not just about the weight, but also you want to have a good healthy weight going into your later years. You don't want to be too on the thinner side. You don't want to be too like bulked up, but you want to and it will help with lean muscle mass and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
which will lead us into our next topic, which is exercise, which is really important for us as we get older as we're going through. And it's it's important to incorporate some exercise because it's not just about diet, it's about movement as well
Oh,
and
absolutely.
healthy movement.
Hmm.
I know,
Hmm.
Dabney, you do a lot of movement and you run around after grandchildren. So
Yeah, it's not always consistent, but I do work out like several times a week. I have made a real specific point for myself. Particularly this year, I ordered some weights. I used to take body pump when before COVID at the gym, but then COVID hit and things closed down. And then when the gym opened back up, the classes weren't offered at a time that was suitable to my work schedule. And so I just let it lapse. And so I have really missed weights. And so I do like my hand weights and that sort of thing. But I decided I really needed to do more of that body pump because it works a full body. So I ordered some set of weights. And so I've been 3 times a week. I go and I remember the routines. I turn on my music and I'm just down there and I'm working my muscles because physically, I feel stronger and I sleep better and I notice that I have more energy. Like you think that you're taking a 45, half an hour, 45 minutes and you're dedicating to exercising, but at the end of it, like I feel better and I have more energy than if I were not to exercise. It's really quite an interesting phenomenon.
yeah, I agree. And we used to say, I mean, there used to be talk like cardio, 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 and like the weight training kind of went to the back burner. And it's great to incorporate the cardio. It doesn't have to be pounding as we get older, but we do need to, move in terms of walking, cycling, swimming, pick which one is best for you, just to increase your circulation, like you said, and to keep the vitality alive. Right. And then there was the whole, I mean, there still is quite a bit of the movement for yoga, Pilates that increases your flexibility and balance, which is
For
also good
sure.
to incorporate
For
into your
sure.
weekly routine. You can even do it could be like a little bit of cardio and then do like a 10-minute stretch. That's all you really, in your day.
Mhm.
You can do it like in front of the television if you want at the end of the day and just kind of get into some poses where you're, flexing, or you could try and balance, or you could do a yoga pose or whatever, right? And then the third one, which is now becoming one of the most important ones, which is always kind of near the end because people were afraid that they would become looking like bodybuilders, is strength training. Um,
Yes.
has become the big thing during our menopausal, perimenopause, menopause going on because we need that strength as women to get as we get older. And I don't want to talk too much about it in this podcast. I guess we can touch upon it because we do have an expert in strength and training coming in on our next, after this podcast, we'll have a guest expert who will talk about it and shed some light about why strength training is so important for our as we age in different times of our lives, right? And it's not gonna the myth of breaking the myth and dispelling the myths, I guess, of um, the way your body will react and how what women have, like the testosterone that we have is not going to be
We're not going
extreme,
to
that
look
we're
like
going to be like
Incredible
Hulk
Hulk.
Hogan or like, I don't know, Shira, I guess I should say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but you can get some nice lean muscle, but it's nice to have nice arms, I think. You don't,
Yeah.
I know
I
some of us
enjoy
aim for
it.
that, right? You don't want you like when you work out, I don't know about you, but when I work out and I do arms, and then I'm like, whoa, my arms feel so great. Like, I don't have that little bit of
Yes, it
flag. I'm
feels
like,
good.
it feels great. Like you feel like energized. I don't know. It makes me feel great.
Well, and I
Makes me
feel better
feel,
in my clothes. I
yeah,
feel better in my clothes. Things fit better, and then when in the summertime, when I'm wearing something sleeveless, it's like, yeah, that looks pretty good.
I
Like
look
I like the
great.
definition. I like the definition
Yeah,
of what weightlifting does
right.
versus when I am not doing it. Walking is great, the elliptical is great. I do all those things as well. But it's the weight training that really gives me that definition. And people use the word tone. I don't really like the word toning up. Like I like definition. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. Like I want to see where my muscle starts and stops.
Yep. Well, because it helps your muscle mass, your bone density, which is really important, right? Because that declines as we get older, and we need that strength as we get older. And so, it's going to be a really interesting topic, I think, next
I'm looking
week. And
forward to
I
it.
think it'll be great to ask the questions that we need to know about all this strength training and exercise in general as we get older and what our bodies need, right? So
Absolutely.
stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what
And
she has to
consistency,
say.
I should say too. We want to be consistent, right? Like just don't give up. If you think, oh, I'm really sore today, I don't feel it, but like your body kind of needs to move when it's sore. If you sit too long, that's not good either. So long term for more benefits, get a workout buddy, set reminders to your phone. Don't make it excuse it, make it a priority, I think is my key. I really do make it a priority. If I know that I've been sitting too long, I get up and I walk. I go out. So I live in cold climate, but like I still will bundle up and I will go out and I will walk. So just
Yeah.
do something, move, as for to prolong it. And then as I said, like she'll lift her weights and now she can lift all her grandbabies and stuff, right? So
Yep, and I have enough energy to jump on the trampoline for a little
there
while.
you go. That's good exercise.
It's really good exercise.
I know. Okay, so we did diet, nutrition, we did exercise, and then should talk
Yeah,
about some
so
herbal
yeah, and we
remedies.
want to talk about sleep a little bit. Like,
Yes, good
sleep
one.
is really important, and aiming for 7 to 9 hours is what's optimal. Granted, as we get older and with menopause, oftentimes we wake up in the middle of the night or around at 2, 3 o'clock. I call it the bewitching hour.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to get back to sleep, depending on the lunar calendar or if you have things on your mind that you're worried about. Sometimes it's hard to get back to sleep. I don't necessarily recommend getting anything like prescription to help you sleep. Those can be quite addicting, but there are some herbal things that can help you wind down at nighttime that can help somebody sleep through the night. Um, but just know that sleeping well is important, and especially if you want to try and look younger longer, because if you're tired, your eyes are puffy, um, cognitively, you're not thinking as clearly, and so you just feel kind of run down. And so then if you're napping in the afternoon, it just really messes up your whole schedule and your whole serotonin, and anyway, it's a slippery slope.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is because and we need the sleep and you need your rest to repair and restore. So all the activity that you did in your day, it's good for your cells, your body. It needs to regenerate and repair, right? So that's why it's also very important that you sleep and do some stress management during the day, your mindfulness exercises, meditation, deep breathing so that you can get into that restful street sleep, avoid some of that like high caffeine. I know
yeah,
like if you like your caffeine or need a caffeine, I think it should only be really for the morning. If you need that little boost, your green tea even has caffeine. So make sure that you're aware of that. Chocolate also has some caffeine that could keep you up at night. So keep it all before like noon because it will stay in your system for a while. So you really want to
yes,
like make sure you're not taking it later because a lot of us will take a hit of coffee or something, at 2 in the afternoon, thinking, oh, that's the time, right? So it's a witching hour during the day and witching hour at night is 2 and 3 in the morning. Interesting
yes,
enough. But
yes, yeah,
but we want to do that. I mean, what are some herbs? Like I know reishi is a really nice one that you can drink, right? Like kind of before bed. Reishi mushrooms, make a tea of that. That's always like calming and um
yeah. I think about
holy
passion
basil,
flower.
passion
Yeah,
flower.
passion flower, skullcap. All of those are very soothing nervines that just help promote rest. Lemon balm, of course.
Yeah.
Holy basil, you mentioned. Yes, all of those are really great. There's a lot of herbs out there, even
Chamomile.
lavender, just putting a little lavender, on your pillowcase or something, or, having it in a diffuser, that can be very relaxing and helpful. Everyone responds to things differently. So, creating a space in your bedroom where there's not electronics, so no TV playing, no phones that are going on, or even sometimes even just a nightlight can be very distracting and keep somebody from going into that deep sleep. Because you want to be able to get deep sleep, but you also want a good amount of that REM sleep as well. And if you don't have a good rest and enough of that sleep, then you're going to be going on restores. You're going to be going on reserves, I want to say, for the next day. And over time, like that impacts your immune system. So you might get sick sooner because you're tired, and your immune system needs that ample sleep, that 7 to 9 hours, so it can repair itself, like as Sabrina said, so it can keep you ultimately healthy.
And I know we talked about this again on Daphne's one course that she promotes, and we were talking about sleep apnea, which is a real thing too. So if you aren't sleeping as well, or your mouth breather, or something's keeping you up, try and get to the root problem of what is keeping you up at night. If somebody you're tossing or turning, or they're coughing, dry up with like a dry mouth in the morning, see what's going on as well. If you're still feeling really, really sleepy and you're still getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep um, consult a physician because sleep apnea is an interesting thing and it really can affect your health in negative ways
Oh, for sure.
and mouth breathing, right? So these are a few things that you really want to look into as well. And also, I would say like alcohol. Alcohol
Oh,
is not
yeah.
a good thing. A lot of people think having a glass of red wine or two before bed gets them, you might get you to sleep, but you're not going to have a rested sleep. And it's actually doing you a disfavor, to be honest. So, you know,
If
take
I
that
can
into
just
consideration.
interject for just a minute.
Yeah.
So, like as I said a little while ago, I'm wearing a glucose monitor, but I also got an Aura Rings, which kind of is like a health thing. It tracks my health and sleeping and that sort of thing. So I've been kind of tracking about food, how it affects my blood sugar, but then also how does it affect the rest of my body. So interesting enough, I for the last, see, this week, for 2 nights in a row, I had a glass of wine before I went to bed. And it was, I mean, I had my glass of wine probably 6:30, was probably done with it by 7. Um, and then I didn't have any more. It was just one glass. And then the next morning, my Aura Ring or my app said that my resting heart rate was late slowing down. Like my resting heart rate didn't come down until probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. My blood glucose, it brought my blood sugar down. So red wine did not affect my blood glucose and has actually helped it to go down. However, for my heart and my sleeping, it kept me from getting that really nice restorative sleep. So for 2 days, for 2 nights, I did that and it was consistent. The night before, like last night, I was like, okay, I'm not having any wine. I'm going to see how it does. My heart rate got down to its normal time, to its lowest earlier in the night, which allowed me to have a more restorative sleep. So, like Sabrina says, at first it might make you feel sleepy and you want to go to sleep, but long term, like throughout the night, it can really wrestle with having that really restorative night's sleep.
Yeah. So it just goes to show, and like these monitors are useful to track your thing. If you're trying to figure out and get to the bottom of why you're not sleeping, it's really useful. I feel like
Mm,
these tools are there for that purpose, right? Like I had an hour
exactly.
ring like a while back, but and then I stopped wearing it because I got addicted to like knowing my thing, and then it became a thing for me. So now I do no like tracking at all because I get too obsessed with it. So that's for my own stress levels, right? Because then I gotta get my steps. I didn't get my rings or whatever. So now I'm just like a lot happier that way. But they're good for a time period. I think if you really need to get down, and I really feel like these things are useful so that like Dabney, like I mean, you're figuring it out. And it's not to say you can never. I mean, some people will go alcohol free and they don't want to ever drink again. That's up to you. But you want to live life too. You have those moments where you might have a really bad night's sleep. One, they were just saying if you're going to do it over time, it's not great over a course of many, many weeks, right? Like that's going to affect you. If you do it once and maybe have a bad night's sleep, the next night you will probably recover your sleep and feel, it might take a couple days, but you'll get back to a rhythm, right?
Right.
It's
Well,
not to
and
say,
part of it
oh,
too is knowing like what do I have going on the next day? So then I
exactly.
can plan like, well,
Yeah.
it's probably not a good idea to have any kind of alcohol cocktail or anything tonight because tomorrow I've got a big day. I got to be on, like I need a good night's sleep. But if it's Friday night and I'm just going to do laundry on the next day and I can feel free to just walk around in my slippers and whatever, then maybe I'll have a glass of wine because I don't have to be on. I can just kind
Yeah.
of have a restorative chill day and relax. So
Yeah.
I
'Cause
think it really just
yeah,
depends on,
exactly.
somebody's lifestyle.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, because I just lost my train of thought. It's okay. I'll get, well, I was just going to say, I think I was going to say, like, if you have these days where you have nothing to do, it might not be that you're super sleepy, but you might not feel the same as you did. You're not going to feel the same as you did if you didn't drink. You know what I mean? So going
Right.
to work and you had a couple glass, like 1 to 2 glasses of wine, let's say, and you had a disrupted sleep and woke up during the night, the next day will be affected. So that way, like you said, if you have something that's not so busy in your day and you can function with that little bit of less sleep, then you'll be okay. We're not encouraging it, but we're just saying you're not gonna feel bad. You know what I mean? You can get through your day okay with that one or two. It's like when you go beyond that 1 or 2 glasses of wine, that's when you're going to probably feel even worse.
Yes.
And you might not recover as quickly. So these things do affect you. But as we know, wine does have some very good property. There are some good properties. I'm not going to say it's terrible, but there are, like it's
There's
good
some
for your
benefits
heart.
there. Yep.
There are some benefits. So um, drink responsibly, I guess is what we should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And
And
sometimes you
everyone, yeah.
just need that glass of wine, right? Sometimes you just need it.
Yeah. Well, and,
So,
and it's a celebratory thing. It's sort of like sugar.
exactly.
Like I try to abstain from added sugars and things, but I'll have a piece of dark chocolate or if I'm going to, a party or something, I might partake in something once in a while, but it's that balance, right? So if I'm eating well 80% of the time, the 20% of the time that
Exactly.
I want to partake in something, like my body's going to be able to, respond and restore itself and be okay. Unfortunately, most of America and North America, I think, we eat well 20% or we eat well 20% of the time, and the other 80% we're just eating crap.
That's
So,
right. We
and
treat
our
our
body
bodies like
just
a
gets worse and
playground.
worse. Yeah.
Our bodies are like playgrounds most of the times. And then they're
Yeah.
like, like a temple only want like a little bit of time. It's like those people only go to church like on Christmas and New Year or
The
Christmas
C and
and
E crowd.
Easter, Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of the same when it's with your health, probably. It's just
Hmm.
yeah. So, I don't think we're here to say this is bad or this is good. Like I said, things work for people in different ways. And so if you do everything within reason and balance your life, you're gonna your longevity and your aging process will slow down compared to if you constantly bombard your body with the processed and the foods that aren't nourishing to your body, and not doing the exercise and not protecting your skin and from the sun and these kinds of things. It's really going to affect you long term. So the sooner you start to put these things into play, to protect it, you'll feel better and longer, right? It's like meal prepping. You're meal
Yes.
prepping for
It's
your
planning
life.
ahead. It's planning
Um,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, and just making a schedule for yourself, and it doesn't have to
Yep.
be perfect. And that's the hard time. Like sometimes people don't want to do things because they don't want to fail. Well, don't look at it as failure. Look about this is my plan. And just, put one thing into effect. And once that one thing feels like, okay, I got this down, it feels like normal, add one more thing. And when that one more thing, and it's just that ripple effect. And over time, within a year, like you're going to have completely changed your lifestyle. So, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be just one small step.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think, when I look at people who have aged gracefully, and I'm not saying they don't have wrinkles and they don't, don't look older, but people who live well into the 90s,
Hmm.
are people who lived with a balanced lifestyle.
Yes.
They didn't really deny themselves foods, but they mostly ate well prepared foods, whole foods, prepared foods. And on the off time, they would go out for dinner or they get takeout or whatever. And then they would, supplement if they had to for vitamins and minerals if they need. But these are the people that I see in practice, in our dental practices, especially because that's where we see a lot more people that we get to know in their health, right,
Right.
Dabney? And sometimes people come in and I'm like, you're how old? I'm like,
Right.
"What?" Like, I
Wow.
can't
I
believe that.
know.
Like, how does that happen? Like, I have a neighbor, he's, I mean, mid 80s, and he's still snowmobiling, downhill skiing, walks every day. He's very regimented, which I think keeps him in line,
Agile.
and
Yes.
I don't,
It's agile.
he eats his breakfast, his lunch, his dinner, eats specific things on specific days, but I feel like that's his meal planning. That's his way of life. Walks at 4 o'clock or whatever, but that's his schedule and that's what's keeping him going. And as soon as one of or two of these things get taken out of his schedule, it'll alter him, right? So he
Yes.
feels that keeping and maintaining this is going to keep his life going. And I think it's so true. Like he's not just like, well, I'm 85, I shouldn't be snowmobiling. If he can do it,
Yeah.
let him do it.
And he's probably not listening to the naysayers. It's like, why are you doing that? You're going to break something.
No.
It's priority. He wakes up with a purpose. Like today is Tuesday. To Tuesday is this is the day I go and I volunteer. It's
Yep.
Tuesday. This is the day I go to the grocery store. Like if you're waking up with a purpose, it gets a reason to get out of bed. And I can't say how important that is.
Yep.
And when they look at the blue zones, the people, the centurions in the pockets of the world, that's one thing that's in common with them is that they have a purpose. What is the priority of the day? Like, and I would say too, like, prioritize the life. Like, there are people who don't have a really good balance. Sabrina was talking about a balance in life. Like, they work too much, and then they're just exhausted and upset and stressed. And that's going to show up in your age and it's going to show up in your how tired you are and it has an effect on your whole mental clarity as well as your physical well-being. So, prioritize in life what's important to you, and make steps, a small step into focusing that priority, um, so that it becomes a better lifestyle for you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I mean, I just get inspired by these people that just keep going and doing the things that they do. And it's like,
Mm.
if they're doing it, then I surely should be doing these little aches and pains that I have in my, lower back or whatever are not going to get better if I don't take care of me and get to the root problem and nourish myself well, And of course, I take my days off where I need to, where I go a little lighter. If I go to the gym, I'll still go to the gym. I just might lift lighter that day.
Yeah.
But I will still go. And there's people who say, oh, I don't think you should go because you're going to make it worse, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that. I'm like, I know my body and I'll do what I need to do for me because if I
Mhm.
don't do it, I'll feel even worse, you
Right.
know? And
Right.
so I get out, I walk, and sure, maybe I take a day off. If it's a day off of lifting, it'll be still walking, or it will still be some sort of activity because I think it's just important, right? And that's for me. But maybe it's not for everybody, but that's just, so. I
Yeah.
think, Dabney, I think we gave a lot of information here and like little bite-sized pieces so that we can expand on things in different podcasts and different forms and talk about like in greater detail, like the quality of sleep or, you know, herbs that work for our longevity of health and things like that. But I think we have a lot of information. And like I said, I think we're really looking forward to Heather. Her name's Heather, and she's coming in to talk to us next week. The podcast should be up the following Monday. So
Yeah,
stay
stay
tuned
tuned
for
for
that
that.
one.
Hmm.
And again, if anybody has any topics or conversations that they want to know, or if they would like to jump on and join us as a co-host on this podcast for an episode and talk about something that they're passionate about, we're always looking for someone to join us in
Hmm.
conversation. So yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, there's been a few people that we have interviewed and had guests that have really taken off. Like, I've been amazed to watch their story because when we first had them on, they were just at the beginning of their story. And I have just been able to watch them through social media be able just to blossom and grow because they have just been so passionate. So this is just, getting the word out is just really the best way for people to know the other passions and what people have to offer. We live in a time where we have so much information at our fingertips. And, you know, that being said, you have to kind of weed through some of it, but it is amazing to watch holistic practitioners really find their footing in an allopathic society. It's been exciting
100%.
to
And
see.
I don't know if you saw, but like speaking just one last thing, but Michelle, I think her name is Michelle. She celebrity and can't like she was on TV,
Yeah,
like talking
I
about her
saw
book
that.
and stuff, right? It was kind
Yeah,
of neat. She wrote a book for kids now. And so she has her
yeah.
adult book, but she wrote a book for kids
Hmm.
and she does segments on television, which is really cool. And Cassie, who is our one of our last people on. I
Hmm.
actually did some work with her virtually and
Oh,
actually
isn't she
feel a lot better
great?
with my back. It's so great, even just virtually, the things she provides and the information. She works really well with you, even if it's virtually. So, yeah, I'm glad that we have these really interesting individuals come on and different aspects of health. It's not just the mainstream sometimes, right? And so that it gives
Yeah,
people alternatives to look into, which is kind of fun.
yeah, for sure. One last thing, don't forget to laugh. Laughter is great medicine. So once a week, I think should probably watch something that just makes you like cry with laughter. There's just nothing that's going to help that heart more than just laughter. So, and laughing with girlfriends is probably the best.
True.
Women just do better. I mean, we do better when there's other women in our lives.
We are a tribe.
Yeah, we are a tribe. All right.
And on that
Well,
note,
until next week.
here's your healthy dose of happiness.
Yes, toodles.